Elon Musk is sort of like a fly trap, and Trump has hung him up in the Oval Office, and all of these insects from the media, they're now obsessed with Elon Musk.
The whole country looks like it's a fraud. It's fraud, waste, abuse, but it's a tremendous fraud. And what Elon and his group of geniuses have found is unbelievable.
They're jealous of him, they hate him, and they're all swarming and getting stuck on him. And here's Donald Trump now, and no one's talking about Donald Trump as evil. It's all Elon Musk. And so Trump then naturally says, Elon's doing a great job. I'm not going to make fun of him. He's going to be, and they said, well, he talked to the press, and he goes, yeah, he's great at it. He loves it. But what he's really doing is deflecting a lot of negative press at Trump.
And that's just in USAID. Soon we're going into education. You'll find the same thing but bigger. Soon we're going into the military, and you're going to find a lot of bad things happening there. You'll find it because our government has not functioned properly for many, many years, and we're going to make it function properly.
The other day, they tried to embarrass Trump during the Japanese prime minister visit. They said, did you see Time magazine? Did you see that? What they said? Did you see Time magazine's cover, Mr. Trump? Elon Musk was sitting in the Oval Office in your desk.
President, do you have a reaction to the new Time magazine cover that has Elon Musk sitting behind your resolute desk?
And now Trump had kind of a soft spot for Time because they made him Man of the Year, but he said, Time? I didn't know it was still in existence. It went out of business.
Is Time magazine still in business? I didn't even know that. Elon is doing a great job. He's finding tremendous fraud and corruption and waste. You see it with the USAID, but you're going to see it even more so with other agencies and other parts of government. He's got a staff that's fantastic.
Donald Trump does not do what the Wall Street Journal op-ed tells him to do. He has a different sort of influence. It's much more grassroots. And he listens to people. He listens to probably Joe Rogan or Charlie Kirk or Laura Ingraham and Sean Hannity a lot more than he does these official organs of news dissemination, Wall Street Journal and others that are on the conservative side. If it had been any other Republican of the last generation, a Bob Dole, a John McCain, a Mitt Romney, and they were in this position and they wanted to make change, they would have selected a lot of committees for pros and cons. They would have had a special advisory. They would have brought in, and they would have never been done. Never, never, never.
President Trump has carved out a different path in his second term. With the use of executive orders and an alliance with Elon Musk under the newly minted Department of Government Efficiency, Trump is redefining what it means to govern swiftly in America. The traditional route to policy reform, selecting committees, drafting bills, and navigating through Congress is way too inefficient and time-consuming in the face of Trump's urgency for change. Trump's strategy? Bypassing the traditional legislative process altogether.
There's about three things going on why he's so successful. Number one is it's Donald Trump. He knows he only has 4 years, and he knows what happened last time when he knows that if they lose the House, he'll never get any legislation through. So he's got to move quickly, mostly with executive orders. But I looked at the executive orders the other day, Jack, and if you look at the period from George H.W. Bush, 4 years, then Bill Clinton, then George W. for 8, and then 8 with Obama, then 4 for Trump, then 4, they're almost indistinguishable. There's a little bit more with Clinton and Obama. And then if you calibrate by day for Trump, maybe a little bit more than Biden, but they're pretty much in a continuum and they're in a descent. The big executive order period in American history was FDR and Harry Truman, and to a lesser extent, Dwight Eisenhower. I mean, they went from 300, 200 to 1,000, 900. Ike had about 450. So the use of the executive order has declined radically.
President Trump has signed nearly 100 executive actions so far as of February 13th, 2025.
My point is that he knows he might lose power. And these people are crazy, as you saw in the House with that demonstration at the school, at the Department of Education.
And don't lock the door. We're coming in. Who are you?
You're not coming in.
Who are you?
Who are you?
Who are you?
And
she is apparently...
I'm not aware of the meeting. So you have to be on a guest list to enter the Department of Education.
Members of
just
Congress,
explained
we
you
don't
have
have to
to
be on
either
the guest list.
On a list in advance to have access, or if you're coming, then you have to let us know who your escort is. I don't know.
That wasn't true last year.
We've got to push it through. Number two, Joe Biden gave him a lot of precedence. So, for example, they want to sue that he's canceling out USAID, and they know that it was created by an executive order by JFK, so it can be eliminated. They also know they're being disingenuous that the actual minority of that budget is really going to be rebranded under Marco Rubio's State Department. He's ahead of it now. And what was the criticism of USAID was three things. Number one, it had a socially imperialistic agenda of LGBT, so-called queer, homosexual advocacies. And far from what Samantha Power said the other day, oh, the Chinese are very happy that we're not aiding. No, they're very worried because we were turning off people throughout. We're still giving money to the Taliban, but we were, Syria with Sesame Street in the Middle East. We were going in traditional Islamic societies and forcing down the pride agenda down their throats. And that hurt us, and China was happy about that. Now they're angry that we stopped that. The second thing they were doing, they were fused with the media. AP, Reuters, 8% of the budget of BBC, one of the most anti-American megaphones there is. $8 million for Politico? I could not believe that.
Upon coming out here to the briefing room, I was made aware of the funding from USAID to media outlets, including Politico.
And Politico was always interviewing Samantha Power.
More than 8 million taxpayer dollars that have gone to essentially subsidizing subscriptions to Politico on the American taxpayers' dime will no longer be happening. The DOJ team is working on canceling those payments now.
It was just so insidious. So that they were fused with the media. $250 million to promote foreign anti-American media. The third thing they were doing is, to the degree they did provide some relief overseas, they were doing it through NGOs. And a lot of these NGOs were staffed by former USAID workers who went out in retirement or understood the system and then built their own companies and took a huge cut. Kind of like the universities that take 15% of all NIH grants, which Jay Bhattacharya is going to eliminate, and that will cause a big howl. And so what I'm getting at is Donald Trump knows that these things are corrupt. He knows he doesn't have a lot of time. He knows he has to use executive orders, and he knows that he's going to press ahead because every objection is absurd. They said, well, he is not spending congressionally approved money for USAID. Well, all he has to say is, I put it in the State Department. Now it's in the State Department budget. I transferred. But if you're talking about illegally compounding approved money, you didn't say a thing about Joe Biden. We approved the wall. Congress approved the wall. He stopped it. And they said, that's against the Constitution. You have to spend money that Congress approved. He said, well, we have to have an EPA statement. And that took 4 years. And then he remembers he went over to Ukraine, and that famous thing that he related at a session of the Council of Foreign Relations when he was grandstanding. He said, well, what did you think about Ukraine? He said, well, I went over there and I think there was a crooked prosecutor. So I said, you ain't getting the $1 billion. And then he said, son of a B. They got what I wanted, and I released. Well, Joe, that's what they impeached Donald Trump for not spending money immediately that had been improved. You did the same thing. So Trump comes along and he says, sue me. And then see what the courts say after Biden has impounded money, both as vice president and as president.
Will this flurry of executive actions redefine the landscape of American governance, or will it merely be a temporary shift in policymaking dynamics? Only time will tell. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more updates on how these changes are shaping our future.